y'all, Bridget Bartlett here. Today I'm going to show you how to add the records to Cloudflare from your Google Workspace domains. If you would like to use Cloudflare to host your domains, but you need a webmail that you can use to send and receive emails from a specific email address within your domain, this is the process that you want to use. Now, within Cloudflare, you can create an email address with your domain and then forward it to another domain. However, the problem with that is if you do that, it will likely, especially if you're using this for HighLevel, it will likely end up in the spam folder, and I'm going to show you why. If you see here, this is a test that I did to show you. When you set it up through Cloudflare and you then set it up through HighLevel, what happens is it ends up in the spam folder, and this is the part that makes it end up there because it looks like it's mailed by Gmail instead of a specific domain, okay? So this is the part that makes it end up in spam. Now, if you look at emails sent from the domain set up correctly, like within your workspace, it says mailed by this domain and it ends up in your inbox. Okay, so that's really the magic of that. If you're using this for HighLevel, you definitely want to make sure that you are setting this up through an actual SMTP provider like Google Workspace or even Bluehost or something like that, rather than just forwarding the email. Okay, you want to set it up on a domain rather than forward. Okay, so hopefully I clarified that. The reason why we want to do this, okay? But if you're using Namecheap or you're using another registrar, it could actually get very expensive to start adding all of the email addresses. And then what's even more inconvenient is you can't connect it to your Google Workspace email account because it needs to be within your workspace area here. Okay, so let's actually walk through this process. I'm going to take you through the process of adding this domain, and we're going to create an email address, and I'm going to go ahead and add the records here. Okay, so I'm going to set it up completely as if I wanted to use this for my HighLevel account. Okay, so the very first thing that I want to do is I want to go into my admin console inside of Google Workspace. I'm going to go to add a domain. I'm going to go ahead and add my domain here, and I want to choose secondary domain. Okay, you can read through the differences, but for this case and for most cases, it's going to be secondary domain. So I'm going to go ahead and add the domain and start the verification process. Okay, so you can see here, my domain is not showing up. If you refresh the screen, you will see there is my bizlink.us and it says activate Gmail. So I'm going to go ahead and click here to activate Gmail, and I'm going to go ahead and set up the records. So I'm going to click next. And you see here, since we're inside of Cloudflare, it actually makes this process really simple. So I'm going to go ahead and sign in to activate. And you'll see it has all of the records here. And it's saying once you select authorize, Cloudflare will remove the following DNS records from your zone, which may result in downtime. This process is necessary to avoid conflicts with the records needed for Google. So we're going to go ahead and authorize that. And now all of the records have been added to our Cloudflare account. That's one of the reasons I love Cloudflare, because they do have a lot of those automations there that allow you to just automatically add the records as opposed to having to come back and add them all yourself. Okay, so it will take just a few minutes for Cloudflare to go ahead and connect all that, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so once it has done that, you'll see under the domain it says Gmail activated. Okay, but we're not done yet. We have not connected or created our email address. Now we've just connected our domain to our Workspace account. So what we need to do is we need to go to the home page, and underneath your user, you'll see create an alternate email address or an email alias. I'm going to go ahead and type in my user email, which is this one here, and proceed. And then now you see that we have all of these alternate email addresses that are actually connected to other domains. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to click here in the box to add another alternate email. I'm going to make the prefix of this one info, just like I do most of mine. And then you'll see from the drop-down list, now you see your domain. Okay, so I'm actually creating the email address info at mybizlink.us. So I'm going to go ahead and save. But there's still one more step that we need to complete. We need to go into our actual registrar, or not our registrar, we need to go into our actual email inbox, okay, and through Workspace. And we want to go to the settings here. We're going to click all settings, go over to accounts, and now we need to add that account here. So I'm going to click add another email address. I'm going to type in the name that I want these emails from this email address to send from. So maybe I want it to be my biz, okay? And then I'm going to paste in the email address for mybizlink.us. I'm going to go ahead and click next steps. Now, if you see this means it has not yet recognized it. So just give it maybe a couple hours or something, and then it will actually pick up, and then it won't go to this screen. It'll just be added here. Okay, so we're going to give it a few minutes, and then we'll try it again. Now, while we wait, I did want to explain a few things to you. Once you get all of your email addresses connected here, you can choose which one you want to be the default of your workspace. Now, it's really important to add any email accounts into your workspace email. You need to go through this verification process. You won't be able to add an email address with SMTP to your workspace. It needs to be verified through Workspace to be able to add it here. Okay. Now this is another option that I love to use, and this is reply from the same email address the message was sent to. Obviously it's great to have all of these email addresses within the same email box, but when I reply, I want to make sure that I'm replying to the same email address that they sent me from. And this is really important because a lot of times, especially businesses, they will send you an email address maybe regarding or they will send you an email regarding your account. And if you reply to them from a different email address, they may not get that you are the same person because they have you on file as a different email address. So it kind of just gets confusing. Also, if they have marked your email as safe inside their email box, then or marked you as a contact, then this changes that process. Okay, so you won't be replying to the same one, or you could choose to reply always as this email address. But this process, as opposed to just creating the email in Cloudflare, this is what's special about this process because it will allow you to reply from the email address as well as receive. If I just set it up through Cloudflare, I would not be able to reply as that email address. Okay, so that's really the important part there. And you'll also see inside of Cloudflare all of the records that were added for us. Okay, now if you're not using Cloudflare and you're using another registrar, it'll actually just prompt you. Instead of adding the records for you, it will just prompt you to add these records yourself. So if it said that I needed to add this record here to my account, I would just click to add record. I would choose MX record. I would choose this @ symbol, and it tells you in the directions as well. I would just simply paste that, and then I would add the priority, and this one is 1. Okay, so once I add everything that it tells me to add, I would click save, and then I would just go through those. I think there's 5 records here that I would need to add to my registrar, regardless of which one I'm using, to go ahead and do the same setup with the workspace. Now, something else I wanted to bring to your attention, if we go back to the workspace here and we go back to the home page and we go to create alternate email address, I'm going to go ahead and type in my user again and proceed. And you'll see here that you can actually create up to 30 alternate email addresses at no extra cost. Okay, now, if you did want to actually use a completely different domain and you didn't want to create the alternate users, what you would have to do is actually create a new user with that domain. So essentially, you're creating 2 workspace accounts that you would be able to use. Okay, so if that's something that's very important to you, maybe you're managing other businesses or something like that, you may want to consider that as an option, but you will have to pay for 2. So if that's not important to you, you only just have your own inbox that you're just trying to manage, you can definitely add these alternate email addresses in there, and it will save you so much money and time because you are able to just create these email addresses and then put them in the one inbox. Now, what I love about about the Google Workspace as well is that it connects to HighLevel so easily. So if we go to settings here and we go to your profile, you'll see if you scroll down here, you actually have the ability to do a two-way sync, and you'll be able to receive all of the incoming and outgoing emails between your HighLevel account and your personal email account. You'll receive them right in the Conversations tab. So that is super helpful. You will also be able to forward any conversations that you're having inside of Gmail automatically by forwarding it to this link here. Okay, so you'll see it'll be a different link in everyone's account, but you'll be able to do that. Now, the downfall of this is that you don't have the ability to mark emails as spam inside the Conversations tab. So what I personally like to do is not connect the two-way. I like to go through my email inbox, mark everything as spam if I need to, or block emails or whatever, because I get so many. And then I love to keep my Conversations tab just clean. And I know that when people contact me through there, they have intentionally contacted me on my website or something like that. They're all pretty much warm leads because they have made the attempt to contact me rather than just getting all of my emails inside of the Conversations tab. So it's just something that you want to consider, but it is definitely great that you have the ability to connect all of that to your HighLevel account. So even if you have multiple email addresses inside of your Workspace account, all of those email addresses, all those emails are going to be filtered through your HighLevel account. Okay, so let's try this again. So I'm going to go to add another email. I'm going to change this to my biz. I'm going to add that email there and then click next step. So now you see that it has recognized it and added it to our list of email addresses that we can now capture inside of our Workspace email inbox, and we can also send from that email as well. So this is perfectly great to use for your own HighLevel account if you need to create an email within your same domain as your account domain. Okay, so that's the process for setting up emails. I have tons of training on all of that. So that is how you're going to set up your Google Workspace with a new domain and a new email address so that you can send and receive through your Workspace account. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Go make your vision a reality. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us for today's training. If you have any questions, you can join us for open office hours starting right now at bridgetbartlett.com. It's free and open